Welcome to Spirituality Rocks. There's a power within you. It lifts your life to its highest level. It brings success, companionship, happiness, health, and peace of mind. As you tap into this power, it will respond to you because this power is within you. And that's why Spirituality Rocks. Good to see you again. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and I teach practical spirituality according to New Thought. And our weekly shows bring you nationally renowned guests that will inspire and empower you to awaken to your divine nature, expand your consciousness, and teach you skills for life mastery. I have a fantastic show for you this week. With us is from the Universal Foundation for Better Living, the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen, the president, and the administrator from the affiliated New Thought Network, Reverend Kim Yalda, Reverend Dr. Kim Yalda. But first, a little business. I want to just remind you that we have these affirmation cards for you. If you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Post Office Box 472, in Woodbury, New York, 11746. We will be happy to send you these, and a little later on the show, we'll review them. I want to say a shout out to the Reverend Jackie Trish Atkins. We just completed the Women's Gold Rush Conference. It was fantastic. Mark your calendar for April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of next year. Also, I'd like to tell you about Unity FM. If you go on the World Wide Web, unity.fm is a fantastic show. There's lots of truth teachers. And I'm inviting you to check out my friend, Reverend Galen McDowell. I will be on his show soon. And he's on at Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Central Time. The name of his show is Truth Transforms. And he just finished this whole series on spiritual principles of prosperity. So I invite you to check that out. There's those shows there. And I want to tell you, and we'll be speaking more specifically about this, and that is the Cruising in Consciousness. And the Cruising in Consciousness takes place from April 16th to the 20th with the affiliated New Thought Network. And we're cruising out of Fort Lauderdale. We're going to Cozumel. There's still time for you to register and sign up. You would go to newthought.org. newthought.org. And speaking of newthought.org, that is the web address for the affiliated New Thought Network. And my very first guest, joining us from Skype, somewhere in California, I'm not sure where, is the Reverend Dr. Kim Yalda. She is the administrator for the affiliated New Thought Network. But she's got a lot of credentials. That's not just the only one. And she's going to be able to tell us more about that. So welcome to Spirituality Rocks, Reverend Kim Yalda.
Thank you. Nice to be here. I'm in Pacific Grove, California, near Monterey.
Oh, Monterey is beautiful, and that's near the Sillamar Conference Ground.
Absolutely, just a few blocks away from there.
Fantastic. So you have a real passion for healing arts. I find that quite intriguing. Could you tell us a little bit about you and what you do with regards to the healing arts?
Sure. I have a healing, what I call integrated healing arts practice, where I see clients. Some of the things I do, it's mostly energy work, and it's Reiki. If you're familiar with Reiki, is an Japanese relaxation technique, which really is a flow of unconditional love. So I use that with my clients. And I'm also an Ayurvedic practitioner, which is a 5,000-year-old science of health from India. And all of these things are holistic approaches. I'm also a aromatherapist, holistic aromatherapist. And all these things look at how to balance mind, body, spirit so that you can live a longer life and have deeper and more profound experiences in that life. And all of them have a spiritual path that they support you along. So it's really quite a beautiful integration of the energies.
Indeed, that's fantastic. And on top of all that, you are a staff minister at the Pacific Coast Church, which is a New Thought church in Pacific Grove, California.
Correct.
And you are the administrator for the affiliated New Thought Network. Tell us about the affiliated New Thought Network, please.
Affiliated New Thought Network is a pretty amazing organization that is not a hierarchical organization, but it's a networking organization for New Thought ministers, New Thought practitioners, people of high metaphysical consciousness, and it's almost like a support group. We're here to support each other on our spiritual path. And so the beautiful thing is that everyone gets to show up being exactly who they are, and how their ministry comes through them as an individual, how Spirit speaks through them, how God expresses through them. And through that individual ministry, they connect with each other so that we can all kind of help to expand the consciousness and deepen the experience of life.
Oh my gosh, that was so succinct and well put. Thank you. Well, I've been a member of that organization for over 20 years, and I love it. It's wonderful because, like you said, it's not hierarchical, and we really support people in their individual ministries, whether you are a pastor and the head of a spiritual center, or if you have an independent ministry, which is, as you know, my work is independent. So, fantastic. Now, we are going on a cruise. Let me show you. I'm going to just briefly show you. The people can go to newthought.org. That's newthought.org. Here's our beautiful, delightful little brochure. Can you see that? My producer, Tommy, is zeroing on this beautiful flyer. There we go. Fantastic. And our guest speaker is the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen, who will actually be on the show in just a few minutes. So let's talk about this cruise. It's the 23rd annual conference, and it is leaving Fort Lauderdale April 16th and returns the 20th. Tell us about this fantastic conference.
We're so excited about this. In the past, we've had, like you said, 22 previous conferences, and they've been at retreat centers and wonderful connections. And this, we just wanted to make it an even bigger celebration of Spirit. And so we are cruising in consciousness. We're going to have our conference sessions, our keynote speaker. We have workshops happening. Dr. Sheila is going to be talking about, one of her evenings is titled Cruising in Consciousness, Is the Captain on Board? And another talk she's giving, or a workshop, is going to be about every cruise has a destination. And so applying those concepts to our own spiritual path, our own spiritual growth. And then we also have 5 workshops, and the workshops are all experiential. And for example, one of them is called Love and the Experience of Expanded Consciousness. Another one is Walking the Power. So we get to live and experience these concepts on the cruise ship, and then we also get to play and connect in fun with each other. And so we have a Cozumel port of call, where we'll be stopping on the island of Cozumel, doing an excursion where we'll be exploring Cozumel's native Mayan civilizations and scouring around some historical archaeological ruins and experiencing some Mayan wisdom that way. So we're very excited about this. And of course, the underlying thread of all of this is our connection to each other. We connect whether we've just met each other or whether this is an annual reunion for us. We connect in such a deep connection of love, and that's such a powerful experience for all of us.
Well, that's for sure. There's a lot of love and laughter going on in those conferences, a lot. And whether you're a newcomer or you've been with us for 20 years, everybody is really welcome. Now, we want the people to know that they can go to newthought.org, newthought.org, and you can click on the scroll down a little bit. It's on the right-hand side, and you can find out more about the cruise. And we have about almost very near to 100 people going. So far, we only just started advertising it, but people heard about it word of mouth and they signed up. So there are still spots available.
And even if you're not able to join us on the cruise, if you would like to just be connected with Affiliated New Thought Network and just kind of see different things that we're up to, you can also connect with us on Facebook at Affiliated New Thought Network, and like us on Facebook and just follow us and see what's going on and be part of the New Thought community in a greater way.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. So the cruise, there are staterooms available. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
There's staterooms available still.
Absolutely, and you are absolutely welcome to register. We do have staterooms available. We are shooting to hit 100 people, so that we know that we're going to have that many cruising in consciousness together. And so there are a few spaces left, and we welcome everyone who's interested to join us. It's going to be a fantastic experience.
And it's Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. The ship is Liberty of the Seas. So that's a fantastic vessel. And I happen to be on the planning committee with you, so I know for sure that it's going to be a rock'em sock'em event. It's going to be really terrific. And I'm very excited about our keynote speaker. I just heard Reverend Dr. Sheila speak recently at the Women's Gold Rush Conference, and she was stellar. So it's going to be terrific. So any parting words for us?
Come play with us. Come pray with us. Come experience spirit with us. We'd love to have you join us on the cruise.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, the Reverend Dr. Kim Yalda, Administrator of the Affiliated New Thought Network, and Minister at the Pacific Coast Church in California. Thank you so much for joining us on Spirituality Rocks.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we're going to have a brief commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll be joined with the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen, and she's joining us from Kingston, Jamaica. We'll be right back with more of Spirituality Rocks.
We're going to do a live commercial. Hi, I'm Renee Marie. I'm the president of Language of Love Incorporated Foundation. I'm really happy to tell you that we're going to be doing a Language of Love telethon on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please look for the location on my website, ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And the show will be hosted on the Madhouse TV. It really is important for you to be aware of strokes and aphasia. Strokes is the third leading cause of death in America and the first leading cause of disability. And it really is something that plays no favoritism. And it also really comes when you're not expecting. Nobody expects to have a stroke, and nobody expects to suffer from aphasia, and it really does make a huge impact in your life and change your life in one split second. So we look forward to having everyone join us once again on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can follow us on ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. Once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our 2 offices. Thank you.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, with another fantastic episode. And with me now, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, we have the spiritual leader of the Universal Center of Truth for Better Living in Kingston, Jamaica. And she is also the first elected president of the Universal Foundation for Better Living. And she got a bio as long as my arm. I'd like you to give a rousing welcome to the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen. Welcome to Spirituality Rocks.
Thank you, Janine.
Great to have you with us. You know, I just want to tell the people how I love your book. Your book is called 12 Steps to Healing. It's a thin volume, which I like because it's something that I can really work with. There are 12 chapters in it with 12 biblical quotes, with 12 affirmations that invite you to deepen your consciousness, strengthen the first 3 chapters, strengthen your awareness of the power within you. This is a fantastic book. And you know what? I can see that this book will be used as a teaching tool in many New Thought centers. And for that, I'm very grateful, because we need modern books that speak to us in a way that people can understand. So thank you for writing this book. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Now, it says it's from the Be Still and Know series, which leads me to believe you've got another book up your sleeve.
Oh, I've got several.
Woohoo!
I just got to get them out of the computer.
All right.
Like this one. This one was in the computer. About 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Just sitting.
You know, I have to say, I read a lot of books because of this TV show. This book is impeccable. I mean, it really is impeccable. It is so well written. There is not one single mistake, and you can feel the love energy when you pick it up. You really can. It's wonderful. Your particular journey in New Thought is pretty remarkable. You've heard the phrase, the inspiration of desperation, where a lot of people come into practical spirituality because they've had some kind of challenge. And in your case, you were given just a few days to live back in the mid-'80s. Tell us your story, please.
Oh, well, when I received the prognosis that I would only have less than 6 days to live, Janine, I had already been a studying student for 3 years.
Oh, good.
Right. And so what I know is that my search for the meaning of life early in my 20s was really to prepare me for the prognosis that was coming down the road in 3 years.
Oh.
Because I will tell you, if I had not met this teaching 3 years prior and been deeply involved with it through the Reverend Dr. Mary Tompkins ministry in Miami, I'm sure I would have died. Because it was through her ministry, Reverend Tompkins' ministry, that I learned that there was a lady by the name of Dr. Johnny Coleman who had been given a 6-month diagnosis in her lifetime and had survived it. I'd never heard that before. I didn't know that was possible. I thought if the white coats came into the room and said, "You're going to die," then you die. That's what you do.
Right.
I mean, you don't argue with the degrees and, et cetera. And so I'm very grateful to this teaching. I tell anyone, it saved my life. And, really, that's my story. The good news is that I took the teaching seriously and started to study it so that when the time came, I was already familiar with applying it in my life. Because theory is one thing. Application is a whole nother bar apart. So it is the application of the teachings. It is the knowing of the truth. The Master Teacher Jesus says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. It didn't say the truth sets you free. It says the truth that you know will set you free. And so the knowing is not just a theoretical knowing. It is a soul knowing that enables you to actually put the teaching into practice.
Exactly. Now, what's neat about this book is you're either going to be introduced to spiritual truth principles according to the New Thought tradition, or you can reintroduce yourself and learn more about your spiritual self. There's so many nuggets in this book. My book is all penciled and marked up. I love what you said in the very beginning. You said, and this is really an important question, and I have to say, in hearing you speak at the INTA and speaking to you on the phone, you've always asked questions that are so piercing, and I love this one. Are your daily choices working for you or against you? That's really deep right there. I mean, you could take a lot of time on just looking at that. And it says, are your thoughts and feelings about what others did or did not do helping you fulfill your goals, or are they sabotaging your opportunities for success?
Mm-hmm.
And so you talk about how we can get glitched by disappointment and anger and jealousy and fear, and that it eats at our inward parts and causes health problems. And tell us more about making better choices.
Okay, so life is about choices, right?
Okay.
Life is about choices. You open your eyes and you choose to get up, or you choose to turn on the snooze button, or you choose to not go to work that day, or you choose to stay in bed and just kind of linger. You choose to get up in 5 minutes. So life is all about choices. And sometimes we forget that. The weight of life sometimes gets so heavy that it's easier to simply believe that you're a victim. And when you do that, you forget that you have a choice. And so I find it very powerful to continually remind people, whether it's in writing, whether it's in a lecture, to simply remember you have a choice here. And you may not like where you are, but you can choose to leave. We've often heard stories of people on the news who have had experiences that are very, very traumatic for them, and probably would be for all of us. And one of the things they say is, I left my body. In other words, I left my body and let whatever was happening to my body over there happen, but I left. In other words, I made a choice not to stay there while that was happening to my body. I left and I went someplace else. We heard that. And so we're reminded so many times that we have a choice. And I say to people and to myself, I have to keep remembering, no matter what happens in life, I have a choice. There's a Zen saying, and it says, you cannot stop birds from flying over your head, but you can stop them from building a nest there.
Right.
Again, that's a choice. If you don't choose, the birds will fly over your head. They'll drop little droppings. They'll say, oh, this is a nice place to lay my eggs. They'll build a little nest. And you'll say, oh, I'm a victim. Look what this bird is doing to me. But you have a choice. I don't have to be there when you get home.
Right.
I don't have to argue back with you when you raise your voice. I can choose what my response will be. And that's exactly what taking responsibility for our lives is all about. If you take the word responsibility and you break it into two words, you see response and then you see ability. which simply means I have the ability to respond. And that's what I'm doing when I make choices.
Exactly. Wonderful. You know, in the book, I really appreciated where you acknowledge, because a lot of times people play this game where they're not being honest, authentic, and real. And you said discouragement, that you encountered it. Pity, you joined many of its parties. And quitting, you entertained it until you changed your mind. And then you said, I love this line, it says here, you can choose to unpack the baggage of negativity and travel light through life as you embrace your true identity of a child of God. I mean, that's like drinking a glass of water in the desert. That's beautiful.
I thought so too. And you know what's so interesting about the book is that it started as just a little pamphlet that I had with just scriptures. And a lady came to see me. I didn't know her name. And she's the lady with the yellow eyes that I talk about in the introduction of the book.
Yes.
And as she was talking, my inner voice said, give her the pamphlet. And so I let her finish talking, and then I got up and I said, I'd like to give you this. But what I had to do was I went through each one of the scriptures with her. At that time, I had 9 scriptures. And I went through each one with her. So when she returned later and introduced herself, and I noticed that she was the lady with the yellow eyes, when she said, remember that pamphlet, it worked. Then when she said that, I said, oh my gosh, it's time. It's time to give the pamphlet to the world. But I won't be there with the world as I was there with the lady with the yellow eyes. I won't be there with her. So I've got to have some kind of commentary of what each one of the scriptures means and what it means for people in very simple language. It is not a religious book. It is a book that anybody could read, no matter if they're an atheist. They can read it and get something from it.
Absolutely.
It is a gift to the world, and anybody who wants it can get it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's also priced as it is. And made available to ministries and groups that are doing positive work in the world and want to share it. It's made available to them, and they are making the profits on the book, and not me.
That's wonderful that you're so willing to be so altruistic. You know, I was thinking it'd be neat to write a workbook with this so that ministers and study groups, that they could have specific ideas, but it's really not necessary because it's so powerful. You know, I felt so fed when I read this book. You know, I mean, life is really good right now for me. But I read here, in the midst of your circumstances, all is not lost. And there's a lot on my plate right now. There's just a lot going on. And I read that, and I read that God's will for me is wholeness. And I really took that idea and said, well, what does that mean? Wholeness. Speak to the people, explain this idea. What is wholeness?
Okay, so God's will for me is wholeness. Wholeness. In other words, not brokenness. Many people think of themselves as broken. I remember doing a workshop in California, and a gentleman said something to me that just made me want to cry. And he said, but I'm damaged goods.
Wow.
I thought, oh my gosh, you can't think of yourself as that. You're not what happened to you. You are whole in every way. Have you been hurt? Yes. Have you been misused? Probably. Have you been criticized? Of course, we all have. But you are still whole. And so as we embark on our relationships, whether it's our relationship with ourselves, our spiritual relationship, whatever it is, then we would be better off if we begin from a point of wholeness rather than brokenness. So wholeness meaning completeness. And that means that you are complete as a spiritual being. You already have all the love within you, all the life, all the wisdom, all the power, all the faith, all that is required for you to live your life you already have. And so that means then we must find a way, as the wonderful writer says, to release the imprisoned splendor. But the splendor is already complete within itself. When you plant a seed, Janine, that seed in itself has everything it needs in order to be a beautiful rose, to be a beautiful fruit. It has it within it. Now it is the environment in which you place the seed that's going to determine its fruitage.
Right.
But the seed itself is complete. You don't need to add anything to it. So this whole idea of creating hybrids is man's idea. But the idea itself, the seed idea of you, is already complete.
That's wonderful. You know, you write in the book that how the soul plays an important role in healing. And you say that when the soul is well nourished, the body thrives. And when it's not, the body feels the effects. And then you actually say, exercise the soul consistently. Now, how do you exercise your soul consistently?
You exercise your soul when you engage in your prayer, your meditation time, your solitude. If the soul has all that it needs, then unless you begin to live from your soul qualities, then you're not allowing those soul qualities to find expression. And so, therefore, if you have the faith, if you have that faith, then what good is it if you won't exercise it?
Really?
If you don't give it an object. Faith needs an object of attention. So if you don't have faith in your dream, you don't give faith anything to do. So faith gets lazy.
Right.
So faith always needs an object. It needs something to give its focus of attention to say, I can do that. We can do this. We can accomplish this. So you exercise the soul when you do your prayer work and you do your affirmative work, when you affirm what your possibilities are, rather than languishing in what's not happening and the negativity of the world and criticizing yourself. You know, when you do those things, you are not exercising the soul qualities. Your soul wants to work with you in order that you may live your best life ever. But you must give it an opportunity to. So spending time in the silence, listening to your voice of intuition, enjoying nature, and simply being who you are rather than who someone wants you to be. Just be yourself. Oprah Winfrey says that one of the greatest pieces of advice that her first editor when she moved to Chicago gave her was, oh, you can't be Donna if you don't even try. Just be yourself. And she said it was the best piece of advice she ever received. But most people are trying to be somebody else. And maybe that's why people get caught up in what the celebs are doing, but they're not getting caught up in what you're doing. So you've got to be yourself. Be yourself.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, you know what? It's time already for a commercial break. So stay tuned. It'll be very brief, and we'll be back with more of Spirituality Rocks.
I think this is a good time to tell you. You're doing okay, Mom. I can call you Mom, right? I know we haven't known each other very long, but you seem like a real keeper. You're not perfect. There was that strained carrots incident, but you're trying. You pick up my bottle every time I toss it out of my stroller. That's high comedy to an 8-month-old. You hum the Barber of Seville when you wash my hair. So cool. And your rub-downs are out of this world. Anyway, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. You know, right? How much I love you? You're doing okay, Mom.
Hi, I'm Jeanette J.J. Branch, America's favorite stunt woman, and I'm with AAU Teen Talk. Join us live every Thursday, 4 p.m., only on Madhouse TV. Y'all watching?
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns. Delighted to have with me someone who I just admire and respect so much and who has inspired me so incredibly, the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen. Welcome back.
Thank you, Janine.
I was thinking the other day, you said something last year. We were at Phoenix, the INTA, International New Thought Alliance. It was so powerful that I actually sent you a tithe. And you said, do what is given you to do. And I had recently, this was not last year, it was the year before actually, and I had all these big changes in my life, and I was getting a lot of flack from the people around me about the changes. And I was thinking, wow, why is that happening? And then I heard you say, do what God has given you to do. I went home and I moved forward with such enthusiasm and fervor on my new project that came to such fantastic fruition. And could you speak a little more about that? I just thought that was genius that you said that.
Oh, well, I wish I remember what I said. I said, do one thing you to do. Well, the thing is that, well, what else are you doing?
Well,
what else are you doing? If you're not doing what you're given to do, what are you doing?
But we get sidetracked. Someone goes, oh, what makes you think you can do that? Or you're not smart enough to do that? Or you don't have the money to do that? There's a lot of naysayers out there. And it was during an inspirational talk you gave. And that's what happens. We're so influenced by those around us rather than going within.
Well, see, the thing is that I continue to say, what are you doing? If you're doing what the crowd wants you to do, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you're missing the mark, which is error, right?
Right.
And so therefore, it is best for you to just do what you are here on the planet to do because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Everything else that you do may bring you success, you may make money from it, but if it's not what you are here to do, then your soul is not being fed.
And you actually...
And so your soul wants to live authentically as it is to express.
Right.
And so, therefore, live out of who you are and not what someone else has designed your life to be.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're shooting in the wind. I didn't say you wouldn't make money. I didn't say you wouldn't live in a penthouse, but your soul will not be fulfilled.
Right.
I remember what led me to this teaching in my early 20s was when I had done everything they said I was supposed to do. Go to college. I went to college. I graduated. I got a job right out of college. I had a great job, and guess what? I was next in line to be the supervisor of the entire Miami office. That was pretty good.
Wow.
I had a birthday. My sister called me, and she says, oh, you're going to be 25, let's say. And I started to weep. I just got my first brand new car because I had used cars up until that time. And I started to cry because I realized, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I've got the job. I'm in a pretty good relationship. I got the job. Is this it? I'm thinking, I'm going to be 25, and oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What is there left to do in life? And I started to weep because what I had achieved so far was not enough. If that's all life was about, it was a waste.
And I want to...
So I went on this search.
Okay.
Go ahead. So I went on this search, and that's how I got here.
And I want the people to know, I mean, you were an assistant attorney general for the state of Florida. So, it's not like you were working you had a really fantastic job, but your soul wasn't fulfilled. And, you address this idea on page 13 in your book, become that which you already are. And what I like, you say here, Do you have faith that things are working together for good even if you don't see visible signs of the good? To absolutely stand in your faith that no matter what the appearance is, that divine order is taking place and that good is coming forth from that circumstances is fantastic. And you even say, does your faith remind you that even in the darkest night you can have joy in the morning? This book is like a spiritual ice cream sundae. You just want to lick it all up and the whipped cream and all the good stuff. I love your book.
I love that, Janine. I like that. I like it.
And I'll tell you what,
spiritual ice cream sundae.
It is.
And like I said, it's its own book. I really cannot even take any credit for it.
Yeah, well, the universe wrote this book through you. When we were off camera, Reverend Sheila was saying how things just fell into place like a row of dominoes, and with the book, and it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. You know, we're going to be coming up for a commercial soon. I'm not sure how much. I think it's a very brief commercial. But before we go that, I do want people to know that on page 19, there's a chapter called Power to Overcome Fear in Dr. Sheila McKeithen's books, 12 Steps to Your Healing. And the web address where people can check out more information is, where can people, we changed the banner for this.
Right. It's right on Amazon.com. It's available as an ebook as well as a regular book. And it's only $8 for the regular book.
You know, the fact
on Amazon.com.
You know what, I have to say how much I admire and respect that you made this book only $8. That is just amazing to me.
That's what I was told to do.
It's just...
That's what I was told to do.
You know, I love that. You know, we were just at that women's conference, and you know what? The universe told me to give away my CD, Tunes for Transformation. And so I understand what you're saying. And I had done quite well selling them. You know, Deepak Chopra endorsed it and all. But I just got that to do that. And I feel so good that I did it, because I know that when you're making a difference in the world and you're doing what you're intended to do, like you said, you're feeding your soul. Okay, a real short commercial break this time. It's just probably only going to be like a minute, and we'll be back, and we're going to hear more about the Panorama of Truth is coming up in August 5th to the 9th, and we're going to hear more about that and Dr. Sheila's work with the Universal Foundation for Better Living. Stay tuned for more of Spirituality Rocks.
Shannon Gates is the #1 fence provider on Long Island, with the most inventory in stock, including vinyl, chain link, and aluminum. Gates offers a custom powder-coated system that prevents rust throughout the life of the fence. We carry fence tools to the trade. We even stock wood, rail, and glass hardware as well. Shannon Gates has our very own patented locking system. The next time you need fencing of any sort, both commercial and private, give Shannon Gates a call at 631-392-4330. You can also visit our website at shannongatesinc.com.
We're going to do a live commercial. Hi, I'm Renee Marie. I'm the president of Language of Love Incorporated Foundation. I'm really happy to tell you that we're going to be doing a Language of Love telethon on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please look for the location on my website, ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And the show will be hosted on the Madhouse TV. It really is important for you to be aware of strokes and aphasia. Strokes is the third leading cause of death in America, and the first leading cause of disability. And it really is something that plays no favoritism. And it also really comes when you're not expecting. Nobody expects to have a stroke, and nobody expects to suffer from aphasia, and it really does make a huge impact in your life and change your life in one split second. So we look forward to having everyone join us once again on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can follow us on ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. Once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Hi there, you're watching Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and joining us via Skype is the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen, and she's joining us from Kingston, Jamaica. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, we're looking over your book, and I just want to say before we move forward, on page 12, this really resonated with me. Perfect life come forth. Perfect health come forth. Divine energy come forth. And you wrote, whatever seems to be lacking in you, call it forth with conviction. And you said, set an appointment time with God and give your undivided attention to calling forth the latent or dormant healing and restoring power within you. Hello. This book, people get this book. Go to Amazon.com, 12 Steps to Your Healing, and that's by the Reverend Dr. Sheila R. McKeithen. And you too will be inspired and empowered, and really, even if you're a new student or an old student, there's some big, serious goodies in here. And I'm still calling it an ice cream sundae of truth. It's fantastic.
I love that. I love that.
It is. So, I'm very excited. Now, you are going to, we spoke at the beginning of the show, when the Reverend Dr. Kim Yalda was on, Cruising in Consciousness. You are going to be our keynote speaker April 16th to the 20th. You have no idea how excited I am about that, because people are going to have a real empowering experience of solid truth. And I know you like to use acronyms when you talk, so I'm sure you're going to have an acronym with us, and I'm very excited about you being on that cruise. Thank you in advance for being there. However, you are currently the president of the UFBL, that's the Universal Foundation for Better Living. People can go to ufbl.org if they want more information. But there is the Panorama of Truth. The Panorama of Truth is going to be this August, and we do have a JPEG. Janine, pop up that JPEG for us, please. And that tells the information where you can check it out. So that's, we have two of them there flashing back and forth. That's the one there where you can look for the information. And Janine, can you go to the other one? And that is Save the Date. It is August 5th through the 9th, and it's in Kingston, Jamaica. Okay, can we have the next JPEG, please?
No, Montego Bay.
Montego Bay. Wow, that's even more exciting. Montego Bay. Okay, there we go. And there's our next JPEG. And that tells a little bit more about the conference. Alrighty, our next one, please. Those are the accommodations. I mean, it's spectacular. Montego Bay, look at that. There are the rates, obviously incredibly priced, and that includes everything. That even includes transportation to and from the airport. There again is another shot of the beautiful area there in Montego Bay, out in the community yard. And there again we have more information about the rates and what it is, what's included in it. And then look at that shot. Is that amazing? That is so beautiful with the water. It's just gorgeous. And again, we have coming up there's more information. And look at that. Yahoo. But you want to swim in that swimming pool, huh? Montego Bay.
Yes, there are 4 categories of rooms.
Yeah, okay. So, we have another picture of Montego Bay. It's just spectacular. Now, the screen that came up a couple of times, there's 4 categories of rooms there. So you can go with a single, a double, a triple, or you can have 4 people in a room. So it's affordable for anybody. Next. And there is the information that you can check it out. You can go to ufbl.org, and then you can find the link for Panorama of Truth and learn more about that. So tell us about it. Tell us about the Panorama of Truth. It's going to be in Montego Bay, which is very exciting. How far is that from you?
Oh, it's a little ways from Kingston. Jamaica is a big mountain, and so you really have to go through the mountains from Kingston. But, a direct flight from wherever you are directly to Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay is really the ticket. And all ground transportation is included. Once you hit Jamaica, you are in for an all-inclusive experience, your ground transportation, all your food, all your room service, all your drinks, including alcohol.
I saw
all
that.
Your conference festivities, all that's in the package. The 4 room categories are the swim up, and that's when you have your own private pool, with your room, the
Wow.
swim up. So you have rates for that. And then you have the ocean view room, and you have rates for that. And then you have an ocean front room, which means you're in the front of the ocean. You have a rate for that. And then you have a resort view room, which gives you a view of the garden. We're still working on confirming our speakers, but I will be invested as president while at Panorama of Truth 2015. And so we'll be rolling that out. The information is available in a PDF file. So everything is just rolling out. And the website right now is uploading all of the information. So that slideshow that you're showing will be able to be seen on the website within the next 24 to 48 hours, as well as a link for actual registration. Anybody can attend. All people are welcome, but the rooms are on a first-come, first-served basis. It is a conference developed by the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, who is the founder of the Universal Foundation for Better Living, and she founded it in the 70s. And she founded it as a conference that would feature like a feast from different people, from different persuasions, empowering messages that people could hear to believe in themselves.
Yes.
And so she called it a panorama of truth. And she never tried to selectively have it present just one view, but different views that different people could engage speakers and actually have an experience. What we're looking to do this year is not so much have a speaker-driven experience, but a spiritual family experience together.
Nice.
So that people have something meaningful moving forward. Yes, you'll have a nice time. Yes, the property is great. It's the former site of the Ritz-Carlton in Montego Bay. The hotel itself isn't even 3 months old yet. So it's a fabulous property. Everybody's trying to get on it. The hotel is actually sold out already except for our block of rooms. And so we're really just looking forward to a grand time. So if you want to be with us as we celebrate independence in Jamaica, even on August the 6th, join us August 5th through the 9th at the Hyatt Ziva in Montego Bay for Panorama of Truth. And again, the website is usbl.org.
And that is...
Give us about 24 hours to just get all that information up, okay?
Yeah, and it's guaranteed to be. I've been to many Panoramas of Truth. It is guaranteed to be spectacular.
You've been to Panorama of Truth before.
Many times. Many, at least 10. I mean, many of them. Back, years and years ago, I guess the 80s. So, I do want to tell people, I don't know if people know a lot of things about you. I want the people to know that you, in 2001, was inducted into the Morehouse College's Martin Luther King Jr. Board of Preachers, which is, gosh, what an incredible honor. You're also in the book by Bishop Vashti McKenzie, and he wrote Those Sisters Can Preach, 22 Pearls of Wisdom, Virtue, and Hope. That was 2013. You've done so many wonderful things. You are the Regional Director for Missions in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, and South America. You served as a faculty member for 2 seminaries, both the Johnny Coleman Theological Seminary in Miami Gardens and the University of Transformational Studies and Leadership in Culver City, California. You are the Southwest Regional Chaplain of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. And what I loved is that I believe, I don't see it on my papers right now, but I believe, was it 9 times that you wrote the inspirational readings for the UFBL booklet?
Yes, they told me it's 9 times. I think it's 10, but they told me it's 9, yes.
That's fantastic. How can people get a hold of that publication?
UFBL.org, or go to the UFBL Daily Inspiration on Facebook, UFBL Daily Inspiration on Facebook. And they can access like former readings of it, or go to UFBL.org and actually see the subscription information.
Oh, that's fantastic. UFBL Daily Inspiration right on Facebook, because people are always on Facebook. They can check it out there. Okay, we only have about 2.5 minutes left to live airtime. But gosh, if you would be willing, I would love for you to say an affirmative prayer for all the viewing audience.
Okay, say a prayer for, I missed that.
The viewing audience, say the prayer for those watching this. Whether they're watching live or they're watching a rerun, please do it.
Oh, okay. That's great. Okay, so did you want me to just speak a prayer, or did you want me to refer to the page, the prayer in the book?
I'd like you to speak a prayer. The prayer in the book is fantastic. I prayed the prayer in the book today for one of my friends. It is a beautiful prayer that you gave for us at the end of the book. But if you just speak from your heart right now, we have about a minute of airtime.
Okay, so let's do this then. And so we open our mind and our heart to the one power that made us in the beginning, known by many different names, but still and nonetheless the one power, the one presence, the one mind, and the one source of life. This life is who and what we are. We give thanks for it. We give thanks to every listener, everyone who tunes into this program, and those who are unable to realize their own spiritual potential, and they act on it in ways that's a blessing to them as well as to the world. We affirm now that this interview is a blessing and a benediction to souls all over the world. It blesses Janine, it blesses the crew, it blesses the staff members, and it is that which it is designed to be. Information, inspiration, and motivation. It empowers people to live their best life, to be all that they're called to be, to dust off their dreams, and to go forth knowing that I can, because there's a power and presence within me that is greater than any fear, than any obstacle, than any other suggestion. And it is already accomplishing the work in, through, and as each one of us, all to the glory of the one God. And so we give thanks. We release, relax, let go, and say yes. And because we said yes, the universe conspires now, and we are being blessed in every way. We're so grateful and so thankful. Thank you, God. Thank you, love. Thank you, peace. Thank you, life. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Okay, don't forget you can get your Ice Cream Sundae of Truth. The book is called 12 Steps to Your Healing by the Reverend Dr. Sheila R. McKeithen. Check it out on Amazon.com. I want to thank you so much for joining us. What a blessing. What fantastic nuggets of truth, not only from your mouth, but in your book. Thank you for joining us on Spirituality Rocks.
Thank you, Janine. God bless you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So I just want to remind the viewing audience, please like us on Facebook. We have Spirituality Rocks is on Facebook. And remember that you can also go on Facebook. The Universal Foundation for Better Living has a daily inspiration. And also you can check out the affiliated New Thought Network. I'd like to thank my producers, and that is Tommy Marr and Janine Zerilli. And we have our intern. What's our intern's name?
Cassie.
Cassie. Thank you, Cassie. You're doing a great job. And so we'll see you next week, same time, same place. And thank you. Remember, God loves you. Thank you for joining us on Spirituality Rocks.